Alright guys, welcome back to TCGU UniVersus. Got another deck profile for you here. We're going to do Suzaku. It's going to be going under evil symbol this time, and we'll get into it. Alright, we got Suzaku here. Sorry, Suzaku. Man, I haven't gotten used to saying that name yet. 7-hander, 20 life, air, evil, order. Says has a response after you block with the character. You can build it in and gain 3 vitality. And then enhance. Your gauge attack gets plus X damage or plus X speed for each character in your staging area. And then the last one is a first enhance. Discard 3 attached characters. This attack gets +7/+7. We'll get into the attacks first. So, we're playing 4 reductions. This card is just a crazy card. We're just playing this for the +2/+2 to every other attack, which is just insane. It's just like crazy how good that is. It's also kind of cool because people don't want to block a 1/1, so it'll build your momentum for one of the attacks that the only attack we really need momentum for. So it most of the time it'll build it. We got 4 lightning shots. This card is one of our gauge. The rest of our attacks are gauge. Reduction is the only one that doesn't have gauge. And then this one is to stun out your opponent. It also has a cool response card pool. After your opponent readies one or more foundations due to their effect, flip one of them. So if they're trying to ready things to live, you're like, no. Well, I mean, yeah, you get to do it, but I got to flip one of the things you readied. And then it'll get stun equal to the number of characters you have, maximum of 3. So it can't get stun 4, but it can get stun 3, and that's really good. Got 4 Storm of Torments. This is the attack you really need momentum for. It's enhanced discard 1 momentum to go through your deck, grab a character card, and put it into your hand or staging area. So if you think you really need to block them, you can put it in your hand because after you block with it, it'll go into your staging area. Otherwise, you can just put it in your staging area. This is a really cool card. And then it can also clear itself if you use the first enhance or if you just have 2 or more characters in your staging area or discard pile. Pretty cool attack. 4 lightning tortures. This is the guaranteed to gauge attack because it's a throw. And then if you have 2 or more in your staging area or discard pile, it gets +3. So half of 7 rounded up is 4. So it'll almost always guarantee gauge. Really cool card. And then of course 4 Prism Storm of Torments. This card is just the kill card. It's really big. It's sometimes it's really fast, and it just hits real hard. And then that's all the attacks we play. I did forget to mention that we are playing 4 characters. There's 3 more. You have to play 4 in this character, in my opinion, because of the first enhance. You don't use the first enhance all the time, but when you do, it's really powerful. Next, we'll get into our actions. There's no assets, just some actions here. We got 2 the Toguro brothers. I was debating on the number of each of these actions that I wanted to play. I ended up going with 2 Toguros and 4 revokes. The reason I went with the 2 Togeros is because it doesn't remove itself unless you choose to remove itself. So I wanted to have a thing that I didn't have much of a choice on. The cool thing is that it has a block in that it can draw you a card, but I just wanted the less difficulty and more easier to like think around. Plus, Revoke is good for the first form as well. And then for Revokes, it's just a really good card. Then we're going into our foundations. Start at the top, the 3 difficulties. There's only 2 of them. So Leader of the Sanely Beast. On a like second version of this deck, I'd play more of these. Because I kind of had trouble drawing attacks, so the form Destroy to reveal the top 5, grab a character or a gauge to your hand is really good. Actually, that's like the only thing you use on this card. I feel like the response, if you have enough momentum to just waste on that response, I mean, it's a decent response, but if you have enough momentum to waste on that response, you're already winning the game. Now, one last of its kind, just an amazing, unique foundation. Really good. Confronting Jeddah, another amazing, unique foundation. This one might be even better in this deck, though, because if you play the Prism Storm of Torment as your 7th card, it gets +7 speed. So you can give it +7 damage. Really good. Played a True Identity because the goal was to be pretty aggressive. I thought that it would be helpful to give plus to the checks for the attacks. That didn't work out too well, but I still think that this card is a decent one of. 2 Hiding in Plain Sight. Even though I said that I still think that it's kind of easy to get the momentum off the reduction. This is just another way to guarantee the momentum. And then if they're in desperation because of reduction, then you get 2. It's just really good. Face of a Monster. Pretty standard defensive piece here. Give it -1 speed for free, or if you pay 1 vitality, give it -2 speed. And then when you're really in trouble, you can make sure you block perfectly. 2 Outward Laris. This, I would say, is mostly an offensive piece. You want to use it offensively to get rid of a foundation that you can't deal with. That's the way I would use it the most. It also can stop stun attacks, but... 2 The Crimson Sparrows. This card's okay. Later in the game, it's easier to have cards in your hand that you'll be willing to discard, but otherwise, in the beginning of the game, you usually don't want to discard anything, but it's also decent for the aggressive part of it is the response card pool. After your attack deals damage, ready 1 foundation that hasn't been readied this combat phase. That's really good, too. This is probably, I think, the best foundation in the deck. Is the Prism of 7. It's just free speed. And then if they mess with your characters, you get your character back. But mostly it's just the free speed. Two Section 13's Failed Experiment. Again, in the second version of this deck, I might play more of these. Because, you know, sometimes you don't always draw your characters, you don't always gauge them. And blocking with them feels so good. So getting them to your hand with this, if you need to, is not that bad. Because blocking with them feels so good. 2 Know Your Objective. Um, Suzaku only has, Suzaku only has 20 health. So you need to block. You need to block attacks. So giving them minus speed, just really good. 2 Orphan Alchemists. This is just spam. If you need to look at the top card of your deck, it can also do that. But mostly it's just spam. 3 Strict Mentor. I thought this card was really cool because when you block with your character card and respond, you gain 3 vitality. So losing the 1 to decrease their speed to make the check just more guaranteed is pretty okay. And then you can play it while it's committed too, so it's just really good. I went with 3 Arranging a Deal instead of New Empress of the Netherrealm. I was deciding between both, and I thought that the pay 3 vitality on the New Empress was just too much. It's not incredibly hard to get to Desperation, this character, so I feel like these are just fine. 3 Azure Nightmares. This is just in case you need that extra little push to get that last attack out. It's also just good to discard, or if they stun you, just a good spam. This is the Bear the Mackay Whistle. This is, if you're having like trouble, it's really good spam. Maybe I should have played a bit more of them, but I didn't like it because it just seems like you don't want to be using this card. But it's just when you're having trouble gauging mostly, so you can give your attack -2 to its gauge rating, and then so it makes it easier to gauge. That's what that's in there for. We got 2 Profane Sanctuaries. This is just here because we were, like I said, we're trying to throw a lot of attacks, so we don't want to get breakered. So stop that. 3 Hell's Reach. Just a good spam. It basically commits for 2. And the last one is 3 Uniting Rebels. Like I said, it's not too hard to get to Desperation, so this vitality gain is important to not just get blown out. Thanks for watching my deck profile. This was Suzaku for the Dark Tournament Campus Championship. It's one of the characters that I was most excited for from Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm definitely going to keep working on it. But this was a rough first draft. And if you want to see some other deck profiles, we're going to have 7 more of those coming out. Watch all of the matches, and check us out on Facebook, or definitely hit us up at our Patreon. It's all TCG University. Otherwise, stay learned.